The CLT's background started by a British linguist, David Arthur Wilkins, who proposed a functional or communicative definition of language that could serve as a basis for developing communicative syllabus for language teaching. Wilkins attempted to demonstrate the systems of meanings that lay behind the communicative uses of language. He described two types of meanings: notional categories, concepts such as time, sequence, quantity, location, and frequency, and categories of communicative function: requests, denials, offers, and complaints. Wilkins expanded his 1972 document into a book titled Notional Syllabus, which had a significant impact on the development of CLT. Then the Council of Europe incorporated his semantic communicative analysis into a set of specifications for a first-level communicative language syllabus. That was the CLT's background. After, in 1980, Cannell and Swain focused more on communicative competence. These communicative competences are in four dimensions: grammatical competence, social-linguistic competence, discourse competence, and strategic competence. Grammatical competence refers to what Chomsky calls linguistic competence and what Himes intends by what is formally possible. It is the domain of grammatical and lexical capacity. Social-linguistic competence refers to an understanding of the social context in which communication takes place, including role relationships, the shared information of the participants, and the communicative purpose for their interaction. Discourse competence refers to the interpretation of individual message elements in terms of their interconnectedness and of how meaning is represented in relationships to the entire discourse or text. And strategic competence refers to the coping strategies that communicators employ to incite, terminate, maintain, repair, and redirect communication.
According with the linguistic Burns in her book Interpreting Communicative Language Teaching, he includes a useful summary of 8 characteristics of communicative language teaching. The first is that language teaching is based on a view of language as communication. That is, language is seen as a social tool that the speaker uses to make meaning. Speakers communicate about something to someone for some purpose, either orally or in writing. 2. Diversity is recognized and accepted as a part of language developed and used in second language learners and users, as it is with first language users. 3. A learner's competence is considered in relative, not in absolute terms. 4. More than one variety of the language is recognized as a viable model for learning and teaching. 5. Culture is recognized as instrumental in shaping speakers' communicative competence in both their first and subsequent language. 6. No single methodology or fixed set of techniques in precedent. 7. Language use is recognized as serving ideational, interpersonal, and textual function, and it's related to the development of learners' competence in age. 8. It is essential that the learners be engaged in doing things with language. That is, that they use language for a variety of purposes in all phases of learning. One major feature of communicative language teaching is part and group work. This type of work is suggested to encourage students to use and practice function and forms. That helps the students to become more independent and to accept responsibility. The role of the teacher. The role of the teacher is a facilitator and monitor. He or she has to do that students try to let mistakes possible. The teacher has two main roles. The first role is to facilitate a communication process between all participants in the classroom and between test participants and the various activities and text. The second role is to act as an independent participant within the learning teaching group. The latter role is closely related to the objectives of the first role and arises from it. This role implies a set of secondary roles for the teacher, first, as organizer or resources and as a resource himself. A third role of the teacher is that of researcher and learning with much to contribute in terms of appropriate knowledge and abilities.
The following principles of activities in communicative language teaching consist of 6 points. Number 1, make real communication the focus of language learning. Number 2, provide opportunities for learners to experiment and try out what they know. Number 3, be tolerant of learners' errors as they indicate that the learner is building up his or her communicative competence. Number 4, provide opportunities for learners to develop both accuracy and fluency. Number 5, link the different skills such as speaking, reading, and listening together, since they usually occur together in the real world. Number 6, let students induce or discover grammar rules. The rule of instructional materials. We will consider 4 kinds of materials currently used in CLT and label these: text-based, task-based, realia-based, and technology-supported. Text-based materials. There are numerous textbooks designed to direct and support CLT that suggest a kind of grading of sequencing of language practice. Some of these are in fact written around a largely structural syllabus, with slight reformatting to justify their claims to be based on a communicative approach. Others, however, look very different from previous language teaching texts. More recent courses published by international publishers still often cite CLT as providing the methodological framework for the course. For example, Interchange, Fourth Edition, and Four Corners. Typically, this means the use of an integrated syllabus that draws on the Common European Framework of Reference, which specifies outcomes of various language levels, and which includes functions, topics, grammar, vocabulary, and the 4 skills as noted above. Task-based materials. A variety of games, role-play, simulations, and tasks